Speaking of actresses, this is the part of the show that McManus is going to hate, okay? I like theater. I really like going to see plays.
I do too.
I like
theater.
Musicals.
I don't.
I like straight plays and musicals. I like them. I like to see people act in front of me. I don't fall asleep when I'm at the theater. I do fall asleep when I'm at the movies. I'm very excited about seeing people right in front of me sing and dance, or not sing and dance, just act. I mean, I've seen a lot of great straight plays in my life that are not
about.
musical.
Takes you back to your vaudevillian days, I guess.
I don't know what it's about. I had the opportunity last night through my friend Bill Isaacson to go see If Then. If Then is at the National Theater. It closes on December 6th. It is a play that is in production to go to Broadway. Doesn't mean it will go to Broadway, doesn't mean it'll be a hit on Broadway. It means it's in the preliminary stages of going to Broadway. This is a tryout. This was its opening in Washington. It's by the guys who wrote the Next to Normal, which won a Pulitzer Prize, I believe, and was a very, very interesting play, the musical that I saw and liked a lot. Didn't think it was West Side Story, but I liked it a lot. And this thing, and I'm going to go into some detail here, but I'm going to tell you that I stayed up. I wasn't tired, though I'm tired now, and I got home after 11, and I was really happy to go. And I'm also going to say to you that I understand, to the people that are the loyal littles, I understand that you are indulging me in this, because this is not a television show which everybody can see. It's, 100% of the people who listen to this show, if I talk about a television show, they have access to that television show. If I talk about a movie that I like, 50-60% of the people who listen to this show might want to go see that movie, right? This is a musical that may or may not open on Broadway, and I'm talking to nobody. And I understand that, so I need you to indulge me. Because I'm going to go through a certain amount of length here about this show that I saw last night. If you wanted to build a show for Broadway, there are certain things that you have to do. I mean, this just makes sense for you to do this. A musical for Broadway. You've got to consider the people that are going to go to see your show in New York City. You don't consider, well, down the road there'll be bus and truck tours to Detroit and Washington and Philadelphia and Los Angeles. No. You want to mount a show for New York City, you got to write a show for New York City. So one of the first things you have to do to mount a show in New York City is you got to get a big star. They have Idina Menzel. That name may not mean much to any of you, but she was the female star in Rent, which was an incredibly successful Broadway show, and she was the female co-star, along with Kristen Chenoweth, in Wicked, which is, to this day, a very successful Broadway show, and by the way, is great. It's a great and smart and politically savvy show. So you have Idina Menzel, so you know she can open. You know that you're going to get a chance to have her. What else do you want? Well, you want a show that takes the position that New York City is the center of the cultural universe. And so what are you going to have to say? You're going to have to say, well, I used to live in Phoenix. Oh, my God, there's nothing in Phoenix. But now I'm in New York City, and New York City is great because the audience is in New York City, and they want to feel that way. Okay. You got to have a certain political liberalism to a show for it to work well, unless it's a period piece. If it's a current piece, you have to have a certain political liberalism. In other words, you have to take the position that corporations are greedy and bad, and that people are getting displaced by corporations, and the average guy on the street can't catch a break, and there's a conspiracy against him. So how do you build a show around that? Well, you make the lead character a city planner, an urban developer, and you bring in that conflict right away. We want to build this high-rise. Yeah, it's going to have a park, but yeah, some poor people are going to have to move to Jersey. So, yeah, you get that. You get that going for you, which is nice. Okay? You have to have romance, straight romance, and you have to have gay romance. That works in a musical in New York City. Again, know your audience, know what people are coming to see. Look at the model of Rent, for example. Look at that model. So you have to build that stuff in. And then, if you have a big star who's a woman, you've got to build in conflict. Conflict being, should I have a child? Should I have a career? Why are these men who are my bosses so terrible? People who go to the shows who are predominantly women are going to identify. Have I said anything that's lost you yet?
No.
Okay. That's how you build a Broadway show in a modern era. Oh, and you also want to have tunes where there are curse words in the tunes. Because you've looked at the Book of Mormon, which is great. You've looked at that. You see how much they curse in the Book of Mormon. And so you build in occasional scatological lyrics and one big production number, which in this case is called What the F, except it doesn't stop at F. Doesn't stop there. That's a big Idina Menzel song. That's how you get to Broadway. What are the problems on the show? Well, one problem is, please forgive me, I'm not a dancer. The dancing is terrible. The sort of chorus aspect of it is terrible. It's pointless. I don't even know why it's out there. That's not the biggest problem that they have. The biggest problem that they have, and the small problems that they have, is that occasionally Idina Menzel's got a great voice, big singer. They stick her on stage alone. She's always wearing, Gene would love this, black and white or just black or, something like that. She has no color to her whatsoever. Not even accent color. It's strictly black, white, and one scene gray.
But it's set in New York, right?
Set in New York.
So that's...
But other people have a little bit of color.
Typical.
But yes, okay. But when they have her sing the big production number, it's just her alone on a stage, and the stage is so dark, and her voice is so loud, and it's like you say to yourself, oh, they're going for the moment. They're going for that one great moment. Well, that stuff, I'm fairly cynical, so that stuff doesn't work on me. There are some wonderful tunes in this thing, but I think they put a little too much pressure on Idina Menzel to deliver, this grand moment, and she's really, really good, but she ain't Judy Garland, she ain't Barbra Streisand, she's very, very good. She's not them, where you are so in love with her that your eyes are on her at all times. So I didn't really like that. The biggest problem that I've lost you a long time.
You lost me.
Yeah.
Nicola.
Right. Right, that's fine. So
He's
great.
looking at porn on the internet.
No, I'm listening to you. I'm listening to you. I mean, it doesn't, when you say you've lost me, it's just I'm not interested in going. Right.
The biggest problem with the show, and they have time, the show's not going to open until March. Mm-hmm. The biggest problem is it's confusing. The plot is confusing because she essentially plays two different people. Let's say there's 30 people in the show. She plays two different people. The show is about chance and fate.
The divergent paths her life could take.
Yes.
Correct?
If I go here, here's what'll happen. If I go there, this is what'll happen. And everybody's in the play together. And some of the others, one or two of the characters play two different people, but she's always playing two different people. And I'm telling you, I didn't know which was which.
Two different versions of herself.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And there's a really good song at some point in it, 1,000 me's. I could have been this one, I could have been that one, I could have been the other one. But it's confusing. I don't know who she is at any given time. They say they accomplished this with different lighting, but it's a little bit confusing.
Lost on you.
I think they had to change costumes or something.
But they don't really. She's always Idina Menzel. So I think they have to work on that. There are some numbers I would cut. There are some numbers that are very entertaining numbers, but to me they don't advance the plot at all. They just make a minor star out of a particular character in the play that everybody likes, the school teacher, but they don't really advance the plot, and I would dump them. And it turns very, very dark in the second act. Very, very dark. Too dark in the second act. There's a terrible incident on a plane over the Atlantic. They got to get rid of that. For people like me, get rid of that right away. That doesn't do anything for the plot, and the song isn't that good. Just get rid of it, But all in all, because I sound very, very critical, I loved going. I saw my friend Scott Dreyer and his family. They were there. Scotty was there. I met this guy who I was sitting next to. His name was Shelley, and he knew my entire career, and we chatted about, RG3 and Monday Night Football and stuff like that. And I really enjoyed myself enormously. And you never hear me say this about movies. You don't. Even if I love the movie, I never tell you how much I enjoyed myself. I really enjoyed myself because I like theater, and I wish these people all the best.
Odds of it going to Broadway?
Oh, 100%.
Well, it's going in March. Yeah.
It's going, but I think they have to trim the show. But that's what this is for. You read some of the reviews.
The rough cut.
You watch the show a lot. You listen to people you trust. They're not listening to me. I'm happy that I went.
So the script and stuff may change from what you saw versus what happened.
I think they have to. I think it has to. I think it has to because the universal feeling about it from not only what I read in the paper by the theater critic, because his name Peter Marks.
Peter Marks.
She's considered a good theater critic, right? And supportive of plays. But I've talked to about 6 or 8 people who went to see the show. All of us sort of feel the same way, that we were confused. And that you have to eliminate that confusion. There's got to be a way to do that to make it a little bit more streamlined. Not to simplify it, but just... If by the end of the first act, the first thing you say to the person next to you is,
what's happening?
What is this?
That's not good.
No, because she's so good.
Tidy ending?
It's sad. Sort of one of those things, terrible things have happened recently, but we're going to press on to the next day. It's not quite the sun will come up tomorrow, bet your bottom dollar there'll be sun. Annie, that's a great show.
Yes.
I love Annie.
Very good show.
Who doesn't love Annie other than McManus?
You don't like Annie?
I really don't.
Oh, my God.
I'm pretty consistent about this.
But you like West Side Story?
Yeah, I saw it when I was 16, so, I had a little different.
It's greatest.
God,
So,
Annie's great.
Annie is great.
Yeah. Love taking my kids to Annie.
Sun will come up tomorrow. Bet your bottom dollar there'll be sun. I mean, really, that's great. That's optimism. So that's my elongated and I've lost everybody. I have. I'm sorry.
We were second.
I'm sorry.